All right, this video lesson will be a little bit shorter than some of the others, but I wanted to make sure to touch on the amendment process of the Constitution. So this is something that the founders had to consider in the Constitutional Convention, is this amendment process. So by making provisions for changing the Constitution through a process of amendment laid out in Article 5, so make sure that you know that. Make sure you know that the amendment process is in Article 5 of the Constitution. The framers acknowledged that it would always be unfinished. So the framers knew that the Constitution was going to be an imperfect document. They knew that things would likely happen in the future that were going to require changes to be made to the Constitution, and that the document needed to be flexible. So that's why they included this amendment process in the Constitution, was to make it a flexible document. The process of amending is very slow and difficult to achieve, and we'll talk about the amendment process on the next slide. But know that it's very difficult to get an amendment passed. And that's why there have only been 27 amendments to the Constitution, including the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights wasn't actually part of the original Constitution. That was ratified later and included later. So there have been 27 amendments to the Constitution. So of course you're familiar with the Bill of Rights. That includes things like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to bear arms, things of that nature. You're familiar with those. But there's been 17 other amendments that aren't part of the Bill of Rights that have also been included. Now keep in mind that two of them kind of cancel each other out. The 18th Amendment was prohibition, all right, so ending the sale of alcohol. And the 21st Amendment is going to repeal the 18th Amendment. So those two cancel each other out. But just know that there have been 27 amendments to the Constitution. Now, again, remember the amendment process is Article 5. Two ways to propose an amendment. The first is by Congress. So Congress can propose an amendment by passing a 2/3 vote in both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Or the states can propose an amendment, and that is by passage in a national convention that's requested by 2/3 of the states. Now, after an amendment is proposed, it has to be ratified by either a majority vote in 3/4 of the state legislatures or acceptance by ratifying conventions in 3/4 of the states. So, very tedious process, and that is why there have only been 27 amendments to the Constitution at this point. And the framers wanted it to be that way. And these are just some of the amendments to the Constitution that I included here. But when you're going through your Constitution scavenger hunt, you will look a little more closely at some of the amendments and the articles in the Constitution. And that is where we'll stop with this video.